up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, man. Today we're gonna be making a drag wing for the Blazer. That's one of the things that I enjoy the most out of building race cars or race-oriented cars. I gotta use the term lightly, or else, you know, people get so offended when you say race car. But the aesthetics of it, the overall look, you know, I think that's one of the things that I enjoy the most, is trying to just find ways to make it look a little bit more aggressive. So we're gonna start on that today because, I mean, the Blazer, to me, it looks like a freaking hot rod, but to an ordinary person, it just looks like basic traffic, you know what I'm saying? First thing we're gonna have to do is, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull the entire rear window off for now, because this thing is definitely in the way. I've always liked this factory wing. I don't know if you'd call that a wing. Whatever the hell that damn thing is. Either way, we gotta get out of the way so we can start making a template. So I do have an idea of how it is I would like for this to look. I can't find too many pictures online of drag wings for Blazers. You know, it's all S10 trucks. I've seen a lot of different styles on trucks. It's, like I said, really difficult to find anything on a Blazer to really kind of get an idea. But I do have a visual. Like, I know exactly what it is I want up here. It's just figuring out exactly how to make it. So the obvious is it's got to come straight off, right? Now, I do want a side section. I do not want my side section to line up with where this comes straight off, because then it would be crossing into the window. It's gonna have to run across this pillar. So the section that is going to be running up here on the actual roof of the car, it's gonna need to be out here wide enough that the section that's gonna run down here has to be one piece with it, you know what I mean? So we're gonna have to come way out here with the drag wing so that whenever it does start to bend and run down this way, it will be capable of doing that. So it is gonna be pretty wide. It's gotta be basically the width of the entire roof. I do want a section up here on the top that actually sticks up. Kind of similar to this. I do want a section on top that sticks up like that. I don't know if it's gonna stick up that high. We're gonna make templates, and then so I can get an actual visual of it. And then another thing we're gonna have to decide is how far out it's going to come, because most drag wings, you want it to extend to the length of the vehicle. Now, I ain't no scientist and I ain't got no wind tunnel, but this is not the first drag wing that I've made. Previous years of making drag wings for my vehicles, through research and stuff and watching videos, it helps with the wind that comes off of the vehicle. I guess whenever it passes, it goes down and it creates some kind of cyclone back here that creates drag. And the further you get that back, the better off you are. Personally, am mostly doing this just for the aesthetics of it, because I think it looks cool. But I mean, there is some kind of functionality to it. Like I said, I think this is one of the most fun parts about building a race-oriented vehicle versus like a stance car or something. Stance car is like you make stuff that just looks off the wall and crazy. With a race-oriented vehicle, the things that you do to it, you want it to be functional, you know? And that's where I take pride, is trying to make fashionably functional pieces. I guess you could say. So I don't know, we're not gonna know until we can get a good visual of it. So it's time to just stop talking about it and be about it, bro. We gotta make some templates. And if you guys watched my last video, we got some chloroplast to choose from, and we have cardboard to choose from. I'm gonna go with the cardboard because it's a little easier to cut. And I got it for free, man. All right, so this is just to find my angle and to find the length. So using the straight edges, I was capable of getting it pretty close. So as you can see, it's touching down here and it's touching all the way along here, but it doesn't touch right here. And that's because this isn't simply just straight lines, you know what I'm saying? So this area right here, I'm gonna be able to fill in with tape. And I'm starting on a little bit of the larger side because I could always take some away. I don't think I want it to come all the way this far up, and I don't think I want it to come this far down. Like I said, this is just the starting point. Now I need to close this gap up, and I'm just gonna close that up with tape. So I've got my angle right here. Now I need to figure out how far out I want to come, and like I mentioned, I do want this to be a little bit on the larger side to start off with. We can always trim back, you know what I mean? But I do want to get a visual of what it would look like, just ginormous and aggressive. I'm probably gonna dial it back some, but we'll see. I'm going to start off with being the length of the rear bumper. So we have our angle of the truck, and from this point out 22 inches, we'll bring it pretty close to flush. Eyeballing it, of course. So I know I'm gonna end up shortening it. I don't want it to be that damn long, but we'll see. So I need to peel this off of here, and I'm gonna actually try this piece on the other side to make sure it all lines up. And now we have our template to make our template. Template to make the template. So we got our template for our template. I went ahead and I marked ourselves a nice straight line all the way across, lining our template up. So this is the length of it. I'm gonna line it up to the edge of this piece, and then I left myself enough room down here for this portion. From this point out, we need to go 22 inches. I marked it there with a little dot, measured that out to 22 inches and made myself a squared line right there. So that is our length. And now what I need to do is go ahead and just line this up to the edge, line our straight line up with the straight line of our template. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just outline our angle, and then I gotta mark this point right here. That's how far down I want it to come, and then from there everything else is all in our own creativity, man. How, like, if I want this to be rounded, I want it to round up and then step up a little higher and then flare out or anything. I think I'm gonna stick to a little bit more of a simple design, but yeah, at this point you can make it do anything or make it look however the hell it is you want. Template is done, and I made two. So we're gonna need one for the left side, one for the right side. The center is gonna have to attach to both sides, of course. And also I have these raised areas right here that I'm gonna have to pay attention to, because that's gonna cause us problems. So for the most part, I think I'm going to stay in front of that. It shouldn't be a big deal just to stay in front of that. We still have plenty enough mass right there to be on top of the Blazer. So, but I also made a second set that is a lot smaller, not as aggressive, you know what I mean? So we can mock up both of them and see which one we like. If we want to go with the crazy 3-foot long one, I'm kidding, it's 22 inches. Or do we want to go with something a little bit more subtle and smaller? I'm probably going to lean more towards this one, but never know until we get it mocked up. Well, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and go with the smaller one. I don't even want to tape the damn bigger one up there. I mean, I went through all the work of making that template, but it is what it is. I already think that this one looks kind of large. Like, it sticks out quite a bit, you know what I'm saying? But I know that that's normal for a drag wing. The other one I have literally coming out flush with the bumper, in which that's what you're supposed to do for a for like a drag wing. Now, for a street style drag wing, they're normally a little shorter, and that's what I would like to consider this one, is more of like a street style. Portion is done for the most part. Well, I got to cut out. Trying to take my time, make sure I get nice clean radiuses. So like on the template, this area right here was just squared up. Now cutting it out of aluminum, I want to add a little bit more detail to it. So I put a radius on the inside there. And then of course all these edges all are nice and rounded and clean. So another thing that's different with this than the template is basically I oversized it. So from this line right here that I have scribed in there, that entire section after it was not on the template. That section is gonna get bent upwards. So that's the reason why I put a scribe in there. Marked it, figured out exactly where it's gotta be, and then I clamped a straight edge on there and just ran a cutoff disc like right on that line, so it just leaves a nice deep little groove. The reason being, that is 090. It's decently thick material. And my brake, this is a 36 inch, I believe. It's a brake from Harbor Freight. This thing does not bend really thick material. 090, especially for how wide that is. There's absolutely no way I was gonna get that to bend it without putting a scribe in there. So I'm hoping that's gonna make it a lot easier. So these ends are gonna get bent up, and then that is what our side pieces are going to actually attach to. Grab our template here. Whenever these pieces are bent up and I make the side pieces, they'll actually sit flush against one another, and I'll be able to just rivet it across here. So I'll be able to put, baby, come back. Got this thing all bent up, both sides. Then I also had to add another brake in it right here, so it kind of contours to the shape right here. I didn't want it just sticking out, you know what I mean, with a gap in between. So it fits pretty good. But the problem that I'm having now is the fact that where I want to mount this is right here on the factory mounting spots for the roof rack that was once on this thing. But the previous owner put, I think, a bolt in there and cut the head off, and I've been having trouble getting them out. So I can't get that one to move. I started drilling this one out and using an easy out, and it spins this entire thing. I'm gonna keep trying on that one. You come over here, this one I got out. So I can get a bolt to go into that one. And this one, the entire thing spins. So, if I'm being honest with you, I don't even know if I should trust those damn things. I'm kind of leaning towards just taking the grinder and grinding the head of these off and just pushing them through. I was gonna do some rib nuts right there, but I'm like, you know what? Why not just freaking through bolt it? So I ran down to the auto parts store. Well, I ran down to Home Depot and I got some bolts and some washers and nuts and stuff. I got grade 8 bolts so I can really singe that thing down really tight. I mean, that's gonna be the main thing holding this thing on. You know what I'm saying? And that's the last thing I want, is for this giant piece of aluminum to go whoop. Good Lord, I don't think my insurance company would be happy with that. Anyhow, I got some figuring out to do. I'm gonna go ahead and put the camera down. I'm gonna pick it back up whenever I figure out exactly how to mount this, because there's another tricky portion to it, and that is the fact that it's gonna need to hinge. I'll explain more whenever I get it mounted. Bro, I was up until 3 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out how to make this damn thing hinge. Well, I mean, I figured out way before that, but doing the fabricating and all the measuring and all the craziness to make that work, it was definitely time consuming. So I originally had bought some hinges from Home Depot, and that was a terrible idea. These damn things, bro. Like, this is the only hinge I was able to find that was at least 5 inches long. And wasn't wider than 2.5. Like, the dimensions of it was correct, but this was just the wrong way to go about it. It just was not going to work. Not only is it ugly, I don't really want to have gate hinges up there, for one, and for two, the thickness of this, like it being like underneath the wing, was going to create a gap right here. So as you can see, I do not have a gap now. You don't want a gap right there, because then air will go underneath it. It kind of defeats the purpose, you know what I'm saying? So I ended up coming up with this design. I had to take a notch out of the wing itself. Well, I had to cut it and break it up and then fabricate another piece to go next to it. And this is temporary hardware, of course. I'm gonna get grade 8, just mostly because I want it to be gold like these ones. But I gotta get shorter bolts, or I'll have to cut them down or something. And I will be putting nylon locking nuts on there, as well as I need some washers between this, so the head of that bolt doesn't just tear the aluminum up every time it does hinge open. Now, the reason why it has to hinge is because of my back window. So if I was to make this wing fixed, my back window wouldn't open. You might be thinking to yourself, it'll open until it hits right here, but no. With these side pieces right here, and with the fact that the window is at an angle like this, the window would actually come in contact with the side piece probably about here. So yeah, long story short, dude, I wouldn't be able to open the window. And I'm still not 100% certain on how it is I'm going to mount the bottom section. So the idea I have in my head is, whenever you open a window, I want this to automatically hinge open with the window. I don't want to have to like take a bolt out over here or unclip a pin, or I don't want to have to do anything. I just want to come back here, open the window like normal, and this will hinge open with it. Now, I could not attach it to the window. For one, the window isn't strong enough for that. I've had 5 of these first gen S10 Blazers in my lifetime, and almost every single one of them, I have shattered this rear window. Me and those windows don't get along, man. What can I say? Anyhow, not only is it not strong enough, but it also doesn't sit up high enough. It would have had to been, well, I mean, realistically, it wouldn't have been bad. But long story short, dude, I couldn't mount it to the window. So I like it a lot better actually mounted up here on the roof, in which, by the way, I did end up having to grind these factory rib nuts off. I said screw it, so now that thing, the hinge portion, that is actually through bolted. That is actually through bolted through the roof. So I know it's good and strong, and I don't have to worry about that coming out. And these little guys, goodbye. Anyhow, it's a brand new day. I got plenty of rest. I've had a whole lot of Red Bull in me. It's time to get back cracking on this. I want to get the side pieces made. Where's my damn template? So, I think I mentioned this already. I was going with the smaller of the two templates that I made, but I did oversize this ever so slightly. I did want it to be a little bit bigger than the small template. So if you line this up back here, like so, you can see the portion we already made extends out further than this. So I'm simply going to make the same thing as this template, just a couple of inches longer. That's it. Well, god dang there, buddy. I personally think it came out a lot better than what I expected.
So it's definitely different, bro. I ain't never seen a blazer with that.
It's definitely got a drag wing look to it, you know what I'm saying? And I said drag wing, not drag queen. Stay out of the comments.
Now, of course, it most certainly isn't done. I mean, the majority of it is finished. I do not have rivets right now for whatever reason.
Like, what? Cause swore I had rivets, but you know, that's the reason why there's screws in here. So yeah, that is most certainly going to get rivets going across there. And yeah, I know there's a lot of them, but you guys know how I am. I like rivets, so. I'm trying to decide whether I want to paint it before I put the rivets in so that the rivets are silver. You know, that whole, you know, that whole like exposed hardware look that I had going on with khaki. Put it in the comments down below what you guys think. But yeah, we're most certainly gonna paint it still. I think it's gonna look a lot better. It's gonna have much more of like a finished look to it once it's painted. But the most challenging portion is still to come. I need to, well, for one, I gotta swap out these hinges. So the hinges for the window is what this factory little wing thing actually is attached to. And I have the hinges somewhere out back. That's just a plain hinge. It doesn't have this. So I gotta find those and then get the window back on. And then I need to figure out how it is this thing is going to hinge open with the window. That's gonna be probably the most difficult part because it's gotta be sturdy. It's gotta hinge open with the window and not break my damn window. But also when it's shut, I don't want it to be something that if there's a lot of pressure applied to this, that's putting pressure directly on the window. So there's a lot of things to think about. And yeah, I'm out of time for today. We're getting ready to shower and go hit the Golden Corral buffet there, boy. I haven't been to Golden Corral in a long time. Anyhow, I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Happy Friday. And I don't know if I'm gonna have a Saturday video up. If I do, I'll see you then. If not, I'll see you Monday. Peace. Oh yeah, put in the comments what you guys think about my wing. Actually, only the people that like it. The people that don't like it, don't comment. You're gonna hurt my feelings. You sons of bitches.
Before we take off, just to let you guys know, Rughead is cracking away on the Yukon.
I'm just going to kind of pile up footage on this until he gets it done, and then we'll just drop it all on you. You know what I'm saying?
He's out here with the GoPro that I think has probably been dead for the past 2 hours because I heard it beep a long time ago.
I heard it beep a long time ago.
You see? You see?
Bro, there's nothing interesting going on anymore.
You see? You know?
Later.